Hi, everyone. Great KMers. We love you. We missed you. We didn't see you already for a full week. So again here, good morning, good evening, good night, good day, wherever you are. And we are on the KMGN course. We're speaking today about AI-driven knowledge creation. Before we will start our session today, two topics that deal with the course. One, completing this course. As I've already sent you an email, we will have a certification at the end of the course. In order to earn the certification, I'll share with you for a moment. We will have are we in the right place? Yes. We will have the last session, a session where you will be speaking, sharing your insights, your outstanding takeaways, your tomorrow morning decisions. Please add here your first and last name, the image of your flag, and these two main topics. What do you think was special? What did you learn? And or some of the things you've learned, and what do you think to do tomorrow morning or today, or you started even doing because of the course? Please sort and add in, starting sorted by your first name and then your last name. So Anahit would be at the beginning and Vincent would be towards the end. You understand the idea. Those who don't have it, please go dig back into your emails. And if you don't find it yet, if you don't find it, write me by email or by WhatsApp, and I will resend it to you personally. That was announcement number one. Announcement number two, towards next year. Vincent and I are thinking about different options for the course for next year. And we want to hear your thoughts, what you want to hear in these courses, and specifically what you want to hear in our KMGN 2026 course. Now, I want to set expectations. If, let's say, in the Innovation Institute of South Africa Innovation Institute, Knowledge and Innovation Institute, we will find a course on organizational knowledge sharing. Or in ROM, my company, we will find the September course on Gen AI for KMers. These courses that specific suppliers provide will not be given on a basis of KMGN. We are not trying to cannibalize ourselves and not you or other consultants. So we won't be providing courses that can be provided by a specific supplier. However, things that you believe that are bigger, like we had here, it can be workshops or it can be worldwide speakers, like today we have from France, and last week we had from, I don't remember where it was, USA, and every week we have some for somewhere else. We are providing here courses that are bigger than any specific course that any specific provider can suggest. So with that, as the spirit in your mind, please answer the survey that I will be sending out today. We'll give it 2 weeks, and please think what you want so we can take the right style, the right topic, the right balancing between practical and methodology. And we want to give you in 2026 the best course we ever gave. That's it. I don't want to take too much of Racha's in time, so I'll pass it to Vincent, who promised that he won't use too many words in French, and he will do the introduction today. Please, Vincent.
Thank you very much, Moria. Hello, everyone. Great. So we are very pleased and delighted today to have Dr. Rachad Najjar to join us. I'm sure you probably have came across some of his posts on LinkedIn. He's very active in sharing all the wonderful job he's doing in the field of KM and in the field also of AI these days. So Rachad is the CEO and founder of 3R Knowledge Services. which is based in Grenoble. So in Area, I mean, we have a lot of collaboration with UGA, University of Grenoble-Alpes, and so we exchanged and we talked a lot with Rachad. We never got a chance to physically meet yet, but today we virtually meeting, so that's the first step. But hopefully we'll get more opportunities to meet soon. So I mean, he has a background working with GE in the field of learning, organizational learning, knowledge management, now in AI. So he's a wonderful speaker to have with us today. And I highly encourage all of you to follow him on LinkedIn because he really makes some great and insightful posts. So, Rachad, the floor is yours. Bonne chance.
No, you can say one thing in French.
Yes, I did. Bonne chance means good luck.
Please.
Maybe I can have one word in French. Tout le plaisir est à moi, Vincent.
Oh, okay.
I am glad to be today here and joining you in the KMGN course. My pleasure again. So today, what we are trying to achieve is to understand the relationship, both from theory and practice, along with some kind of case study and demonstration. So the first 25 minutes will be the 1 degree of separation framework. It highlights the relationship between accelerating innovation through knowledge, and we will see the role of AI, how it's making that plausible. Of course, the governed AI with a structured approach. The second 15 minutes will be showcasing a business case, and then we will open up to have more informal conversation, questions, and answers. So let me start by this aspirational question. What if, when are you doing innovation, for every quality solution or expert insight or competency and skill or a novel idea you needed, you have instant access to them? This question implicitly assumes that our critical knowledge is retained and organized. Our experts are identified and connected. Our competency model is defined and mapped, and our ideas are evaluated and prototyped with the network. So this seems a little bit stretched objective. However, it is possible, and I will show it in practice. So today I'm excited to share with you the 1 degree of separation framework. This is a unified framework that prepares and gets ready the organization for knowledge-based innovation. It transforms the organization into a relationship engine that connects and relate people, knowledge, and capabilities. And this is possible today more than ever with AI capabilities and as an extension of our expertise, not as another tool to generate answers or to reproduce answers. So at the end of this presentation, I will show practically what does it look like. So now the question becomes how the 1 degree of separation is going to drive innovation. To do that, first we need to distinguish and to really clarify and define the difference between innovation, invention, breakthrough, and original ideas. So innovation in the context of professional organization and corporate environment, it starts with an idea that is both novel and useful, and it is rooted in a problem, in a pain point, in a customer issue, in an employee concern. That idea will trigger the development of a brand new product or an improvement on an existing product that will lead to an outcome, whether it is a product, process, and a service. Innovation can signify both the activity or the outcome of an activity, and it must solve a real-world problem. And that's the difference with invention. For example, the invention of the light bulb by Thomas Edison is considered as invention. However, the development of LED bulb light is considered as innovation because it has solved the energy and the power consumption problem, which is the LED are more energy efficient. So now the question is, what are the different types of innovation and how they are characterized? So innovation can be characterized with respect to technology, organization, or as an outcome, product, service, or as a process. Let's take the first type when it is both technological and product service oriented. For example, Tesla and BYD, during the transition to electric vehicles, they developed features like advanced driver assistance systems or regenerative braking systems. So it often leads to development of new skills and expertise, and they are formalized through patents and IP. So knowledge here is very intensive in this types of innovation. When we move to the technology and process, and we take Amazon as an example, so Amazon used advanced algorithms to enhance inventory management processes. They streamlined delivery routes and offered faster shipping options by developing new logistics capabilities. So they developed and they improved their production systems and they developed capabilities. The third type of innovation, when it is both organizational and process-wise, it's coming from the famous Toyota production systems, when techniques like Kaizen, continuous improvement, Hensei, self-reflection, Hoshin Kanri, strategy deployment, all those techniques are people first. So they changed the company management culture and they flattened the hierarchies, emphasizing the role of employees in innovation and team-based problem solving. The fourth type, when innovation is both organizational and product or service oriented, coming from Coke and their marketing campaign, Share a Coke, which featured personalized packaging where we can offer someone a Coke with his or her name. So this innovation illustrates how the product presentation can be tailored to enhance the customer engagement and strengthen the brand identity. There's something interesting about this classification. So if we look at the top right and bottom right, so when the innovation is impacting the people, whether they are external customers, consumers, or internal employees. So those two types, they impact directly the people. When innovation is technology and product service, we saw with BYD and Tesla, it is knowledge intensive. And BYD alone, they have more than 29,000 patents. 60% of them are active in products, services, and operations. And finally, with Amazon, we saw innovation impacted the capabilities. So now we can conclude that innovation directly correlates with the triad of people, knowledge, and capabilities. And now the question becomes how we can design an organization where their people, knowledge, and capabilities are 1 degree separated. To do that, that's where the 1 degree of separation that we developed at 3R over the last 15 years. That framework is composed of 4 components: the model, the transformation model, the methodology, the applications, and the governance. So I will dive more in the transformation model and provide a high-level summary of the 3 other components. Let's start with the transformation model. So we have identified 5 different types of organization. And what we are going to do now to ask same question and see how every type of organization reacts to that question. So the first type is self-initiative organization. And the question is, what I need to learn about battery management system. So this is the question that we will see how every organization will react to. In a self-initiative organization, I have this question, what I will do, I will go and send emails, and then I will ask where I can find documentation around battery management system, or who can help me. And I start to engage with my colleagues on co-located approach around a coffee machine or during some kind of workshop, and I keep asking these questions, and I got different answers. And then what will happen? John will answer my question, and John continues to answer every single question that I have. So now John has become my hero, and now the organization is hero-based, and expertise are singular, and they revolve around specific peoples. Those are the rainmakers, the stars. And the organizational capabilities and the people capabilities, the individual capabilities is merged. So we can differentiate between what the organization is developing and what the individuals are developing. And in this type of organization as well, knowledge is fragmented. So pieces of knowledge exist and replicated and redundant in multiple documents. We have different versions. We have different source of truth. And now when we move to the second type of organization, repeatable organization, and the same question, what I need to learn about battery management system. So here we moved from a little bit individual basis to system basis and tools, and organizations assume by developing and putting in place systems, processes, and tools, they can make the expertise repeatable. And they assume by following the process, we can acquire expertise. So the question now of how I can, what I need to learn about battery management system is partially answered in the systems and in the documentation. And we have first version of taxonomy that is topics-based. So we have topics and categories that are classifying our knowledge. And now when we move to the third type of organization, which is the connected organization, better known as networked organization, the question of what I need to learn about battery management system is answered through the knowledge management system. So we have in place a first version of a knowledge management system where expertise now are classifying our knowledge. So instead of topics, we move to expertise, and the expertise now is our taxonomy. And the question of who can help me to answer that question is answered by the communities. So I belong to the community, and my respective community is answering me and helping me to acquire and learn about battery management system. Now we started to connect the organization, and we have some degree of separation between our people, knowledge, and capabilities. When we move to the fourth type of organization, the inquisitive organization or exploratory organization, we start to ask questions around what I need to do differently. What are the different approach, how we can do it differently to answer the question about battery management system. And now we start to have mentors, and I engage in peer-to-peer learning programs. And the question of expertise, now they become more competencies. And now I have a clear understanding and a clear career path about what I need to acquire to evolve into my role. And in combination with expertise, I introduce behaviors, and I introduce as well the skills in addition to the expertise. And now the organization as a whole starts to feel safe. And this is the famous book by Amy Edmondson, The Fearless Organization. They are fearless. They ask questions on how we can do it differently. When we move to the fifth type of organization, the curious organization, which is a major competency for a learning organization, now we start to transform our questions into capabilities. And instead of asking who can help me or where I can find answers related to battery management system, we start to ask ourselves how we can build capabilities around building management system. And for the quick note, in a learning organization, Of course, as you know, learning organization is not a university organization. So the intention is not to graduate our engineers or employees and give them diplomas or degrees or certification. Instead, we want to instill the competency of detecting and correcting errors by revisiting our biases and our norms and values and our mental models. And we say how we can rectify and how we can improve our results by deploying new systems and new practices and new behaviors into our organization. So this is the transformation model that we guide the organization to go through to build their 1 degree of separation between people, knowledge, and capabilities. The second component is methodology. Just overview, a message about the methodology. We implemented this methodology at multiple international organizations. And the number one success factor that we saw for a successful implementation is when we transfer our capabilities. Because otherwise, the number one of failure for any implementation is people can't carry on their own the process or the system or the approach. So the first thing that we do, we make sure that we transfer our capabilities, our know-how and the skills, and we build the team. So the first 6 months is not about tools, it's not about technology, it's not about PowerPoint's presentation, it's about building the team and having the good governance structure in place. So the team, the internal team can carry on their own the different steps inside the methodology. The 9 applications that we deploy and we design applications that reflect the company organizational processes. We have 9 applications. The first one is the competency-based e-learning framework. So we map all the learning initiatives to the competency model, and then we do skills mapping and job decomposition and task analysis to understand what people are actually doing in the field rather than what they should do. And then we map all those skills and competencies into different types of application. For example, the community digital experience, the mentorship, the onboarding and induction, and so on. I will show practically, it's better to show some features for those applications in practice and how we are building skills or mapping skills around communities, around the learning initiatives, or around standards. The governance and the success factors for the program, we have identified the 12 strategic enablers, and those 12 will align the strategy with the execution. Most of strategies fails because misalignment, or those strategies, they stop at the middle management. One of the dominant factors, I'm sure you agree with me, is the culture and the change management. And how we define culture and change management is about the future, the to-be state, and the new behaviors. Also, what we have learned through multiple implementation, most of change management, people change management, I'm not talking about technical change management or a request to change a feature or a functionality. The people change management fails because the people, they don't know what does the new behavior looks like, and they don't know what they should do in the to-be state. So we make sure to visualize and to film and to record and to show what does the new organization looks like, so we can promote those new behaviors and build the capabilities around the change. So to design an organization that is 1 degree separated, there are the transformation model. We assess where the organization is located. Then we guide it through the methodology and the deployment of applications, all governed by 12 success factors. Now let's move to a business case, and always let's continue with our EV and the transition to electric vehicle. One of our customers, they have shortage in skills, and this is true for any manufacturer that is transitioning to EVs. Some figures and some statistics showed in UK, only 24% of the automotive workforce is EV certified. And there is some kind of imbalance and disparity between regions and between agencies. So if more I am located or near the center or the central agency, the more I get quality service to maintain my EV. The more I go to suburbs, the less I get quality. So the disparity between EV skills is huge between regions. And also, in the same logic, the pace at which we need EV skills is outpacing our educational institutes and our universities and the rate to graduate new engineers or technicians around EV skills. So the real question here, and it is valid for any industry that lacks skills, how we can accelerate skills development so the company or the organization is at the level of operations and execution. For that, I'd like to switch to the demo, and I'm going to demonstrate Flow. Flow is our partner company. We have a strategic partnerships. We are co-developing together the platform, and the main driver behind that partnership is we want to bake the methodology into the platform functionalities. So this platform is dedicated and reflects the knowledge management processes and understand behind the scenes what are the different knowledge management activities to conduct. For that, I'm going to switch to the practice and show it in action. So now let's go to our question that is guiding our presentation, what I need to learn about battery management system. Okay, so it's good to mention that we did a lot of structured approach before going into the platform. So we did the skills ontology, we built the enterprise corpus, we did the content hygiene, we mapped the skills, and we did the content mapping with the skills. So it's one of the misconceptions, and already I think it was discussed previously. We cannot expect AI to make our content more of quality. So quality in, quality out. And whenever there is an error, AI amplifies that error. And whenever we have a good source of knowledge, AI amplifies the quality of that knowledge. So now our question, what I need to learn about battery management system, it is mainly around awareness level in terms of skills proficiency. This question is awareness level. So we understood behind the algorithm that this question is positioned at awareness level. And most probably this is a new engineer or new employee joining the company, and he's or she's onboarding in the job. So we assessed the proficiency level, and then we answered the question exactly to match the complexity of the question. And then what we have done, we followed up on what is the next question, because when we don't know what we don't know, it's really difficult to define the next question. So those follow-up questions are still in the proficiency, in the awareness proficiency level, and it helping the employees, a new employee, to go through the onboarding journey. What's interesting, and this is where the 1 degree of separation, we also, through all the agents behind the scenes that are working, we rebuilt the universe, we rebuilt the context around the question. And not only we answered the question, but also we identified the skills. So what are the skills needed for battery management system? So I can see here battery cells chemistry. So this is one of the skills required for the BMS. And then what are the assets? And by assets, we mean those formal documentation. For example, standards. So one of the standards is this one, the RESS safety and abuse testing. So we identified those standards related to BMS, and I can click on one of those standards, and I can open the specific page related to that standard. I can read a summary, and I can even go to the standardization body that have issued that standard. I can continue exploring the universe around my question by identifying the disseminators. A disseminator, a skill disseminator, is a task or any activity that help me accelerate the acquisition of a skill. So here, for example, one of the tasks to do dissemination of skills is embedded firmware development tasks. So again, I can click on it and then view the list of tasks that I need to follow. So I can continue and find out who are the members, who are the experts related to BMS, and what are the expertise. And the expertise are the experiential topics or the hands-on experience around the BMS. And then I can, if I have further questions and I need to engage in a community-based discussion, I can find the related community, click on EV, the related community, and now I transitioned from simple question answering to more peer-to-peer engagement. This is in the sense of the networked organization where we have communities in place to engage in my question. The community has multiple sections. One of those sections is the component section. So EV as a community is a very broad topic. We need to decompose at a granular level what this community is doing in function of the components. So within an EV, we have a battery packs, we have charging, grid to vehicle, and so on. So for every component, there is a curation around that component in terms of skills, in terms of disseminators, and in terms of assets. I can look at the community differently from learning and development. So I am situated in a community, and what I need to learn is what are the skills I need to acquire when I am engaged in this community. The skills as well. So competency is a combination of skills, knowledge, and behaviors. And then I can go to the skills, the technical abilities, and then I can click, for example, on BMS, Battery Management System, and then the skill page specifically related to BMS, it will be dynamically created, curating any content, any piece of knowledge, any discussion, any person around BMS. So think about it as a dynamic real-time training center around BMS, where all the content, whether they are discussions, articles, documentation, or blog posts, they are curated. And likewise, in terms of learning and development, what are the specific skills or competencies and disseminators around BMS as well as the assets? So that's how we are moving from a simple entry point, a simple question, what I need to learn about BMS, to recreating the context and building the graph, or let's say the 1 degree of separation Canva around my information. So that's it for the demo. There are much more features, but it gives you idea about creating the relationship engines and the context that we built around a topic or a specific expertise. Okay, so let's move back to the presentation. I still have 2 slides. What about measurement? To justify as any KM program, we have to speak the language of the finance people. And we have to move from simple arguments of learning, sharing, caring, and problem solving into much more financial attributes. And this is how we can sustain and secure a budget so our program can continue. For knowledge management, it has 2 types of economic justification. The first one is return on investment. This is the practical, tangible impact of KM, and we can measure it in different ways. We can measure the risk and cost avoidance. We can measure the on-site maintenance and the cost of poor quality. And we can measure it in terms of quality control and assurance and the cost of rework or the cost of defects in our manufacturing. The second dimension that we measure knowledge management is around the relationships that we have built, the trust, and the care that we provided to our network. And it can be measured through the return on relationships by measuring the skills proficiency, the year-over-year improvement, or for the individual. During the 6 months, is there's any observed improvement in terms of skills acquisition. We can also measure it in terms of employee retention and engagement. What is the turnover rate? How many senior experts are departing? What is the average age for our experts and expertise? We can measure it also in terms of ideas prototype with the network. If we are deploying an ideation process and we want to see how many experts and how many different experts are involved in our ideation process through the network, we can also measure those relationships. The conclusion, the transformation or how knowledge is driving innovation is through understanding the relationship between knowledge, capabilities, and people. Through the transformation model, we can transform the organization to build the capabilities, to transform the people expertise, and to curate and connect more the knowledge. So to summarize, we have 5 types of organizations, starting from a hero, self-initiatives, passing through systems, networked, explorative, and learning. And for every dimension, for every construct, the people role changes with respect to the organization type, as well as the knowledge and capability, and the behaviors and how the organization react for a learning situation or innovation situation is different. And we need to understand the dynamics of the organization and how we are designing our organization and what is the role of the top management to promote such type of activities. For that, we are providing for the KMGN and we are offering an assessment for your organizations. You can follow this link and you can assess your organization and locate or gauge where is your organization is situated through that journey from hero to a learning. For that, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to open it for open discussions and questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Rachad.
Yeah.
Wonderful presentation. Yes,
Thank
great.
you.
I like this 1 degree of separation. I mean, we are all, aware of this 6 degree of separation that we
Yes.
usually use, and so I like this this analogy. Maybe let me just start by a quick question. So you're able to create this 1 degree of separation internally in the organization, which is great. I mean, lots of companies are still very siloed and they are far from this 1 degree. Now, when it comes of knowledge which is outside of the organization, do you have also a link with the outside knowledge, or how do you integrate this? And how does it help blending also potentially with generating innovation, like, you know, this exploration and exploitation of knowledge? So it looks like the exploration is very well managed. How do you also integrate the exploration in your platform, if you already are doing so? Thank you.
Yeah, yes, very good question, and it's a challenging question because the first thing, we have all the confidential IP related issues. Let's say we have NDA in place. Let's say we have legal agreement, and we are free to allow and exchange our knowledge mutually. An analogy between exchanging knowledge between internal and external is similar to a merger and acquisition. For example, back in time, when General Electric acquired and merged with Alstom, they were two different organizations, and they were did two different knowledges. So the first thing that I did to make sure that we have a cohesive organization and we don't have redundancy is through the knowledge architecture. So I went to the practice and I interviewed the experts and the practitioners in the field. And I asked them, what do you like to be known at if someone looked up for you? What is the image that you'd like to be perceived at? So my intention was to collect and to model the expertise coming from the ground. And then I did a series of 8 workshops and I invited all the field practitioners, and then I invited the chief engineering office. So I have a bottom up and down, top down approach. And then I modeled the knowledge architecture. I understood the domains of knowledge, the domain of expertise, independent of the organizational structures, of the teams, of the departments, of the functions. And then I abstracted that and I formed the knowledge architecture where every domain is modeled and every domain is linked or interrelated to the sister domain. So what are the interfaces and the connection and the flow of knowledge from one domain to another? And then I went to the top management and showed them visually how the expertise are mapped and connected, so we can build the new organization and we can exchange and we can share our knowledge from the two organizations. And similarly, just to resume, whenever we open up our organization to external networks in terms of partnership or alliance, the first step that we need to do is knowledge architecture. Understand the domains of knowledge, the domains of expertise, how they are interconnected, how they are interfaced, and how the knowledge flow from one domain to another, and then we can go and discuss innovation or problem solving or any kind of activity.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any question?
We have here,
Yes, Maria.
yes, we have in the chat some a question. Everything's going to be available, so the answer is yes. But we have also a question of Andre. So Andre, please speak up.
Thank you, Moria. Thank you, Rashad. Very compelling presentation. My question is very specific. You listed several types of knowledge assets, so to speak. I wonder if you could expand on them. I'm curious about what are the differences between, for instance, skills, competencies, and expertise, or documents, articles, assets. I mean, why did you choose those different terms, and what are the differences?
Yes, great question. There are differences, although it seems theoretically, but in practice, they have manifestation. And we start by folksonomy. And this is the first type of capability. Folksonomy is similar to hashtag, what we see in social media, hashtag COVID, hashtag whatever. So this is non-governed classification, and it is very divergent, and every person can create a label and tag a content or a knowledge. Then we move to a taxonomy. Taxonomy now, it is based on topics. So what we are doing, independent if we have expertise or the skills to do the topic or not. When we move to the expertise, then behind every topic, for example, battery management system, it is a topic. But behind BMS, do we have the right expertise to solve problems around BMS? Do we have the right skills to develop a product around BMS? So it's not anymore a classification, it's more around capabilities, and we have the people behind that topic to develop the product. And when we move to competency, competency is a combination of the skills and the behaviors. Because if we want to move into innovation organization or a learning organization, it's not anymore about solving a problem or about developing a product. It's about how we learn, and we learn how to learn. So in front of an error or in front of a failure, how do we behave to re-question our norms, our attitudes, and our beliefs, so we can get context independent, and we take a step backward to re-question what we know. This kind of behaviors is important to move from problem-solving organization or firefighting organization to innovative organization where we re-question what we know. And that's why we distinguish between expertise, skill, and competency or capability. So behind them, there's not only the knowledge, but there's the behavior, the people, the expertise, and the know-how to build a product or to acquire a capability.
Wonderful. I want to add a point, something that
Yes.
I've learned today. Usually when we speak about the degree of separation, we think in one dimension, people.
Yes.
And we start from 6 degrees and we try making it closer and closer. However, I think that here you're speaking about 3 dimensions and the connection between these dimensions. And I love this expansion of the model, so thank you.
Thank you, Moria, for bringing this extra clarity. Yes, the separation is between the organization constructs, the people, knowledge, and capabilities, and those 3 constructs, what makes innovation ready in organization.
Yes. Are there any additional questions, people? Final thoughts?
Yeah, maybe,
Yes.
Rachad. So
Yes,
just to make
Hamza.
sure I understand, so you have so these 5 different models
Organization.
yes, organization. Could we name them at level of maturity based on your view? I mean, they build on top of each other's, right? I mean, it's not like you're and can you be somehow? I mean, a mix. I mean, is it really so clear that I'm level 1, 2, 5, or whatever, or somehow you are doing some of level 1, but also some of level 5? How do you deal with this? Because we like to put things in box, and I understand it's
Yes.
easier to communicate and to share, but sometimes in reality, maybe organization don't always fit in one
Yes.
particular category.
Yes, correct. Just to for clarity, we modeled them in separate boxes just to provide
Okay.
clarity between and differentiate, compare, and contrast. But in reality, there's a mix. And what I saw, 80% of cases, the same organization is at the same time hero, systems, and networked. Some departments, some functions are excelling toward collaboration, communities. Others that are focused on systems, tools, processes, ISO. I'm not throwing away ISO, but the mentality is systems and processes.
Yeah.
And other functions, especially those in the field that are hero-based, all the maintenance activities, all the site installation evolve around an expert technician or expert senior field engineer. And for every project, we send the same person on the site to solve the customer issues. So yes, within the same, especially in a global organization, we have this kind of disparity between the maturity levels and the advantage when the whole organization operates within the same rhythm and the same dynamics.
Okay, great. And so your platform is, I mean, is using some generative AI tool or LLM model behind it to, I mean, to be able to, I mean, to analyze or to compile or to answer to this question, correct?
Yes, there's a lot of technology, but
Okay.
you know better than me, without quality knowledge, it's not
Yeah,
possible
sure.
for AI. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you
Yeah,
work with,
we
yeah,
have
Moria,
we have additional
yes?
questions of Sven and Andre, please.
Well, I have already asked, so if Sven would like to do it
Okay,
first,
so Sven,
please.
we have additional questions. So just
Yeah.
take down your hand, lower your hand, please. Sven, please.
Yeah, so intuitively, we like a higher maturity level. However, there's cost associated with it, right? There has to be
Yes.
recognition or realization that moving to a higher maturity level comes with
Yes.
effort, resources, tangible cost, and so on, and it has to be valued against the benefit it provides. So how do you go about and maybe not every organizational part of an organization needs to be at the highest level or wants to be. So how do you go about this cost benefit analysis for this?
Yes, very good question. And I will give an example from Toyota. And I consider Toyota is one of the very few companies, and this is my personal opinion, one of the very few organizations that is the closest to the fifth level. And to answer the question of cost benefit ratio, it took Toyota years and years, and they worked on every individual. It's not around sending PowerPoints or seminars or webinars. They worked on every individual, and it took them 9 years to become fully learning organization. In terms of cost or revenue, financial revenue, between 2004 and 2018, the revenue for Toyota is greater than the cumulative sum, the total sum of revenues coming from Honda, General Motors, and Nissan. So just the revenue, because they transformed to a learning organization, their revenue is greater than the sum of those three companies. So is it worth it? Yes, it is worth it. Is it hard? Yes, it is hard, but the results will speak up.
Wow. Lit had a question. Lit, can you speak up? Okay, so I'll help. With the knowledge assets you shared earlier, is there a diffusion framework you would propose that taps on both the KM and the innovation for best impact?
Yes, so the diffusion, it's a separate process. We go through the funnel or the channel process. It should be complemented to diffuse innovation, and it is very strict process in terms of evaluating. So innovation is not only coming with an idea, original idea, and say we are innovative. It has to go from serious evaluation in terms of feasibility and in terms of budget and cost assessment and impact on the customer. Once it passes through the funnel, then it can be transformed into a viable product. And the diffusion process and the communication, it should be with the community or with the network. So it's not a standalone approach. We innovate and then we share our result. We need to engage the end users in the development process. So there is the kind of adoption that we hope for when we do innovation.
Thank you. Torsten had a question. Torsten, you're next. Do you want to speak up?
I think, thank you. I think it's basically an overlap with what Sven was asking, how to move on to achieve full maturity. And I saw the methodology. I was just wondering how, if there's any point where you guys suggest to move on to the next stage.
Yes, so we developed accelerators. So just to give some example, when I was at GE, it took me 5 years to reach level 3, to be fully connected organization. And we've done that with 220,000 employees across 9 businesses. Today, GE has another structure, but it took us 5 years. We developed accelerators and we learned what does it took and how to engage the top management. And now with my customers, also another global organization, it took us 2 years to reach level 3. The first 6 months were only to build the team, and then the next 18 months to deploy the methodology and the governance.
Thank you. And last question, we'll go back to Andre. Andre, I know you re-raised your hand.
Yeah, thank you, Moria. I have many questions, but yeah, it's as Moria said, it's very interesting, this idea of connecting people to both not content, learning, people, discussions, and you're developing a platform. But I wonder, how can organizations implement this idea in existing platforms? Have you considered that? What would you recommend? Would you recommend to start with people or content or learning in order to build this?
People are 50% of the equation. Start with the people. We can also do some kind of fugal innovation with what we have in hands. But also, I need to clarify the platforms that we are designing. It's a reflection of the methodology and reflection of the knowledge management processes. For example, one of the knowledge concepts is sister communities. If two communities are sisters, which means they tackle an interface topic. So from the technology point of view, when we have this interface topic, automatically we invite experts from those two communities. So the platform was designed for knowledge management activities. But let's say we don't want to implement the platform. I recommend starting with the people, have some kind of expertise mapping, skills mapping, map the skills to the people, who knows what, which are the content, what are the expertise, where are they located, and to have this layer, the social layer built, and then we can look into connecting other dimensions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vincent, I know that you have so much to say, but do you want to end something to end this session today?
Yes, merci.
Avec plaisir.
So merci from us all, and bonjour. Have a
Bonjour.
great day,
Yes.
everyone. Thank you for joining
Thank
today.
you.